I've talked about my infinite love for all things Spider-Man related before on this channel, and let's be honest, everyone knows who Spider-Man is by now. Only thing I can really do at this point is list off funny facts, like the time Peter killed Mary Jane with his radioactive semen. Yeah, that actually happened. Talk about a bang good time, am I right? Get it? Because sex. Now, I grew up watching reruns of the animated 90s cartoon, which is an absolute masterpiece of its time, and I will fight anyone who even says otherwise. The show not only introduced me to Spider-Man, but its whole world, stories, villains, and other characters I absolutely fell in love with. So imagine how happy I was when I found out there was a live-action movie about my favourite spider-related character. Well, besides Arachnaman. Or did you forget about Arachnaman? I didn't. I'll never forget about you, Arachnaman. If you haven't seen the original Sam Raimi film, allow me to explain it to you in the simplest way possible. Boy gets bit by spider. Boy gets spider powers and weird organic webbing. Boy wrestles Randy Savage. Boy lets shady promoter get robbed. The robber also kills Boy's uncle and Boy cries. Boy seeks revenge and Boy becomes Spider-Man. Boy's best friend's dad transforms from normal Willem Dafoe into Willem Dafoe on acid. Boy must stop best friend's dad, save the city, and in the process learn that with great power comes great responsibility. I must have watched this film a dozen times as a kid, but even I have to admit that it's incredibly cheesy by today's standards, and the dialogue is a bit, well...
You grabbed me and said, Aunt May? Aunt May? Is that an angel?
nausea-inducing. But the film made an arse ton of money, spawned an infinitely better sequel, and another I'm not going to talk about because I still have the PTSD from watching it, endless toy lines, and a video game for each corresponding film. And today we're going to be looking at the first one of these games, Spider-Man the movie, the video game. Nah, but on a real though, who thought death by semen was a good idea? So you boot up the game and are presented with a really nice looking FMV showing Spidey swinging from rooftops and fighting the Green Goblin. But the second that's done, you get a rather uncomfortably quiet loading screen stuck in your face. Okay, let me just press start. Aww, look at the cute little spider climbing down. I wonder if it's gonna... Oh, fucking Jesus Christ, that was loud. Right, so this is the main menu. Nothing really interesting to say here, it's a main menu. What more do you expect from me? A nice little touch I did notice while scrolling through the options is that for new players, there's a tutorial level you can play so that you're not going into the game blind. Let's just boot this up and see what...
Greetings. Welcome to the tutorial.
Wait.
Yeah, I know.
Is that
you want to get on with things, beat up the bad
Bruce
guys, do the
fucking
whole
Campbell?
superhero-
Yeah, so for whatever reason, Bruce Campbell's in this game. If you don't know who Bruce Campbell is, he starred in Sam Raimi's other hit film franchise, The Evil Dead. And oddly enough, has a cameo in every one of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films and the subsequent games. I mean, sure, why not? I'm all for some Bruce Campbell.
Well, good to see that you can follow basic instructions.
Alright, Bruce, didn't you get cheeky with me? Or how about next time I review Evil Dead Regeneration? And we both know neither of us want that, Bruce. Yeah, this is a pretty basic tutorial level. Teaches you how to fight, web around, and climb to walls, but since Bruce Campbell is here, I'm gonna give it a solid score of 11 out of 10 and call it a day. Nah, okay, I'm just kidding. Let's see how the rest of the game plays out. So to start the game off, you're treated to another really pretty FMV. Actually, come to mention it, a lot of these cinematics are really good looking. Of course, they look a bit dated by today, but for a game that came out in 2002, I think the overall presentation is great. Character models and the environments are surprisingly detailed, and the in-game cutscenes are respectable. Even if they can be slightly fucking stupid. Mary Jane, you're not gonna lift the mask down before you... Oh, okay, never mind, just kissing with the mask on, sure, why not? Also, as well as Bruce Campbell lending his beautiful voice to this project, we have Willem Dafoe reprising his role as the Green Goblin, and the man himself, Tobey Maguire, voicing Spidey with some of his just absolute best work to date.
I gotta give him credit. Shocker's a fast runner. Ah, yes. The old swinging log of doom trick. I could have stopped you at the fight promoter's office. I could have saved Uncle Ben. Who are you? No, wait. Let me guess. The Emerald Elf?
I am Spider-Man, and I love being Spider-Man because I get to swing from webs, but don't give me a bowl of rice because Uncle Bill! Yeah, he sounds about as interested in this game as I would be having to play Spider-Man 3 again.
I'm going to die!
So after the FMV, we cap Spidey's backstory and the devastating loss of Uncle Ben, showing just how emotionally crushing this is on Peter. Or, you know, reminding him it's past his bedtime. The game finally starts with Peter going out to try and find his uncle's killer. And by now you're probably asking,
Alex, why have you not shown any of the web swinging yet? We want to know what it's like, you stupid
well, here it is, and I have to say, it's kinda meh. I mean, it's literally just press R2 and flick the joystick in the direction you want to go. There's nothing really to it, and it's way too automatic for my liking. Also, can someone tell me what I'm swinging off of here? Because fuck if I know. I get the game is pre-Spider-Man 2 swinging mechanics, but it feels really boring and lackluster. Like, I'd rather try and walk to the next rooftop than slowly swing over with about as much momentum as an elderly person tackling a flight of stairs. It's just not very fun to do, and when a large portion of your game revolves around Spidey swinging around city block, chasing after villains, that's a bit of a problem. Also, if you get too close to the ground, Peter just decides to end it all. However, it's not all bad, as the game doesn't entirely rely on the swinging. The combat for one is decent with a surprising amount of depth to it, letting you unlock new combos as you progress by finding tokens hidden throughout the levels. As well as that, you have different and unique web attacks you can pull off, from web projectiles, creating an explosive web shield for ranged attacks, and wrapping your hands in webbing to strengthen your punches. And you can use these attacks at any time, provided you have enough fluid left. You know, the webbing in the film was organic, so God knows what he has to do to recharge. Oh, find blue tokens! Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. You can also use the environment in combat too by picking up objects around you and launching it at incoming enemies. Quick note on the AI actually, it does its job well enough with a good amount of variation, with some enemies having armor or weapons causing you to play a little more strategically. But it is questionable at the best of times, leading to moments like this.
Who's that? Guess it was nothing.
Level design is fairly varied, with both outdoor and indoor stages which will require you to play differently. For example, in outdoor stages you can move around a lot more, and use Spidey's acrobatic nature to your advantage with aerial attacks, whereas indoor areas are a lot more claustrophobic, and we'll see you using other mechanics like wall crawling and the web zip in order to get around enemies and complete the level. There's also the option using stealth, but it's broken. Like, legitimately broken. It's far too tedious, it doesn't work half the time, and it's not really worth the effort doing in the first place. So as you can imagine, when the game makes you use stealth in the later missions to break into Oscorp, all the fun and enjoyment is sucked straight out. Like, enemies can just spot you when you're apparently invisible, and once you get caught, you're fucked. Okay, one question, why am I getting nuked? As for the story in the game, it pretty much follows the same beats as the film, while adding in extra villains like Shocker, Vulture, and Scorpion to help pad out the runtime until the Green Goblin shows up in the last couple of missions. Shocker and Vulture's stories are pretty generic, truth be told, with them just robbing a bank and you have to go out and stop them. But surprisingly enough, Scorpion's story is actually fairly interesting, with him being a test subject on the run from Oscorp, becoming increasingly more unstable as his fear of going back grows. I really wanted to see where this would go, but after 2 missions or so, he just disappears and you never hear from him again. But you do get this line.
So what's your story? Stung by a radioactive scorpion or something?
So you know, it's all worth it in the grand scheme of things. With these additional villains, they all have their own specific boss battles, which are the highlight of the game by a country mile. While they may not be the most polished and advanced boss fights ever made, there's still a good amount of fun to play, with each villain bringing something different to the table, in these enjoyable yet really challenging fights. Oh, and on the subject of stuff being challenging, this game can be just that. And by challenging, I mean this game is fucking hard. Like, see for yourself. Oh fuck, I didn't mean like that, you dirty cretin. Health and webbing doesn't regenerate full stop, and the only way to refill these bars is by finding red and blue spider tokens in the surrounding areas. So if you play recklessly, the game will punish you for it. There's no checkpoints. If you die, you go straight back to the start of the level, which I definitely found out the hard way. And while this game is hard, there's a line between hard and just absolutely rage-inducing. And the level that shows out the most is Showdown with a Shocker, which highlights the amount of flip-flap fuckery this game can have. The level opens up with you at the end of a subway with 3 tunnels in between you and the Shocker at the other end. All you need to do is get from point A to point B while dodging Shocker's blast by weaving in and out of the 3 tunnels. Sounds easy enough, right? Well, you'd be fucking wrong! No matter what you do, Shocker always hits you. The second you move out from behind cover, he fires a blast and you're simply not fast enough to reach the next hidey hole, which means he hits you every fucking time. And you're probably saying, why didn't you just use the web zip mechanic that you talked about earlier? Well, I tried that, and it appears Spidey just forgets he can do it because pressing the button to web zip does absolutely fuck all. Great. And while stuff like that is frustrating, perhaps nothing is more frustrating than one specific thing in this game. The thing that killed me the most. The thing that is more challenging to overcome than any boss battle. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest villain in this game is not Vulture, Shocker, Killer Robots, the Green Goblin, or even Tobey Maguire's voice acting, but in fact, the fucking camera. It genuinely has a mind of its own, and I feel like I was fighting the camera more than anything else in this game. It isn't locked onto anything, so you constantly need to adjust it to see what you're doing, but even moving the damn thing fucks with you, as it takes the game a second to realize you've moved the camera, meaning you're going to end up walking in the wrong direction a lot of the time. It's not so bad when you're walking around, but the second you start web swinging, the fucking thing has a fit. Like, I'm sure these outdoor missions are fun and all, but I wouldn't know because I have no clue what's going on half the time because of the fucking camera. I mean, the game has a lock-on feature, but I'm not sure if that fixes the camera issues or just makes it 100 times worse. I mean, can you tell what the fuck's going on here? It's a shame because I think these technical issues are the main problem with this game, and it oftentimes takes away from an otherwise solid game with just how awkward the camera can be. Once you finish the game, you can go back and play through any of the levels you want and try and beat your high score, potentially unlocking bonus levels along the way, which really adds to the game's overall replayability value. Like any old game, there's also cheat codes you can do, like Big Head mode and Feet modes? Sure, why not? I'm not gonna judge, man. As well as that, you can unlock a fully playable Green Goblin character attached with glider and all. There's also a first person mode, which sounds like a good amount of fun actually. Let's just see how... Oh no, I was 100% 100% wrong. Although the camera's a lot better in this mode. And that was Spider-Man the video game. You know, there's actually some really good features in this game, like the combat, boss fights, and detailed design for characters and environments, but I can't help but feel it's overshadowed by glaring camera issues, some clunky gameplay elements like the web swinging, and its story effectively just follows the movie beat by beat, not really doing anything interesting with the source material other than the stuff I mentioned with Scorpion earlier. If you're a die-hard Spider-Man fan, I guess I recommend it, but there's absolutely no reason to go back and play it now with there being better Spider-Man titles out there, but it was a nice little trip down memory lane, and now if you excuse me, I'm gonna go watch the original film.